Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum Whaatwaa family. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mr. Whaatwaa, and today I have my brother here, Ane. Ane, could you introduce yourself to the Whaatwaa family?
Sure, absolutely. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. My name's Ane. I consider myself a good friend of Hamza. And we were roughly introduced a few months ago at MCC, where I walked up to him and just introduced myself because I had, on a previous occasion, seen him accept Islam in front of the audience, or in front of the congregation. So I just wanted to extend my help, just make my presence known, for him to, be available at any time to come talk to me. For him to feel free to come talk to me as a brother. So yeah, since then we've hung out a bunch of times, and I hope and I pray that I've been a good friend, a good fellow brother in Islam to him.
Yes.
So that's that. I personally I accepted Islam about 10-11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Yeah. And prior to this I was Hindu, and my family still is. And yeah, I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina. I work as a data analyst for a healthcare analytics company. That's it.
Okay. Well, the thing I wanted to talk about was, okay, so I accepted, Islam last year. It was August 14th, 2020. So now we have Ramadan coming up.
Yeah.
And before, when I did Ramadan, I was doing it like, I might do like a day, like one day out the week, but now I have to go the entire month of Ramadan. So what I wanted to know was, what advice do you have for me to basically be able to stay focused with, with my prayers, and then also staying focused with being able to, just complete the fast right? Like how basically what I'm saying is, how would you go throughout the day without having that urge to, eat or, drink water or something,
Oh, it's a great question. So when I first accepted Islam, in my case is quite different from the case of most converts. But one thing that I've learned over time was to not make things hard for yourself, and just know and understand that it's a learning process, like it was for the companions of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam. So in regards to urges and staying away from urges, I think you're going to have urges to, want to eat, want to drink, because it's a deviation from the norm for you. So in regards to that, I think spirituality will kick in once you start fasting, because that's just the format of Ramadan. And what it does to you, it's supposed to uplift you spiritually. It's supposed to make you a more religious person. If you do a lot of things right, that is. For instance, if you indulge in wrong things. And the analogy that was given to me was, if a ceiling fan is turned on, right, and the metaphor the ceiling fan is to compare to our daily indulgence in different things. And so when the switch is turned off, and it takes the ceiling fan a little time to come to a full halt, a full stop. So the action or the act of the ceiling fan coming to a full stop is us and our indulgence in all these urges finally coming to a full stop, and that it's not an automatic on-off switch, as you will.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because even last year, it was taking me like time to stop drinking alcohol. It took me time to just to slow it down, or like you were saying with the ceiling fan, you have to make that initial say, you know what, I'm gonna stop this, and it's gonna take its time, but then it's gonna come to a halt.
Yeah.
So I remember, I remember back before then, I used to be like very, cloudy in a sense. Like I would wake up, go to work and stuff like that, and then it's like I would just wait until the weekend, to party. And then as time progressed, even till now, it's like, I could care less about going to party. You know, I could care less about, you know, being in that environment, because, you know, that environment to me, if you would have asked me this last year around this time, I would have been like, no man, we're going out. But now it's like, you know, it's a thing about like, you know what, it's cool, y'all can go, I'll stay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense when you say the ceiling fan. You have to initially take the step to say, you know what, let me turn it off, and then slowly, you know,
and that's what you should expect to see, a sense of spiritual refinement, a sense of refinement in your own soul, because as a human you have tendencies to do good things and tendency to do bad things. So the company that you surround yourself with, if they're pushing you into corners of darkness, you will naturally gravitate more towards that. You perhaps heard this a lot. The people that you hang out with and the food that you eat kind of defines you.
Basically, if you hang out with certain people, they're gonna categorize you with like that. You know, so I definitely understand that.
And I think the phrase in Arabic is tazkiyatun nafs, which is purification of the soul. And following the commandments of God is supposed to lead you down a route of struggle, where you're not used to being a certain way. And what happens is in the process is you end up either alienating friends and making new ones in due course. And the other consequence obviously is you stay away from the bad if you're following the commandments of God and his prophet, beloved prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, exactly down to the T. But I wanna address that question again, because I don't think I fully addressed it in regards to Ramadan and what one can do, or what I actually did.
Yeah.
Regimen. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, because I'm trying to understand, you know, during Ramadan, you know, like what exactly, I know we're supposed to fast and, you know, and then break, you know, fast at a certain time, whether it's, depending on the time, it could be 8:15, around that time.
Yeah.
And then the prayers. But then is there anything that's included that you need to do as far as going to the mosque or anything, or is there like I know there's Ramadan Mubarak, or, you know, how can I say this? Like the end of Ramadan, I know there's like
Eid.
Yeah. There's a celebration.
That's correct.
Okay, so before that celebration, am I just fasting and then, you know, going to work and stuff like that, or is there and prayers? Is there other things to do as well?
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to understand exactly what to do in Ramadan, because I want to make sure I do it right this time. You know, at that time I wasn't doing it right. I was, you know,
There are a ton of things that you can do in Ramadan to uplift yourself spiritually. You can increase the amount of worship practice. You can increase the amount of times you remember Allah by reading the Quran, reciting the Quran, memorizing the Quran, reflecting on the verses of the Quran, increasing charitable acts, increasing social service to your friends, to people that are I don't want to say low-income families, but people that are in need of help, especially consider the given economic climate that we live in as a consequence of COVID-19. I feel like it's really important through this time, this Ramadan, to solely focus on helping out families that have been affected as a direct result of COVID-19. So outside of the regular prayers, outside of Tarawih, which is an extended prayer routine, if I can call it that, which is Tarawih, T-A-R-A-W-E-H, and what it is some different schools of thought pray different number of repetitions of rakat. Shafi'i school of thought, I think, pray 11, and Hanafi, I think, pray 20. And these are like short rakas, but it leads up to about an hour or an hour and a half. And you pray this after Salatul Isha, which is the last prayer. According to the Gregorian calendar, not the last prayer according to the lunar calendar. That's different. I want to stay away from that discussion for that.
That's another.
But yeah, so there's a ton of things that you can do.
I remember, you know, the last time we went and did. The last time me and you were together doing charity work. we were, you know, downtown.
Yeah.
You know, at the homeless man shelter, and or at the what's it called, Tent City. They moved Tent City.
Yeah.
You know, when I
It's tragic.
yeah, when I had seen I seen the video, they had showed something about the rats and stuff like that, and then they moved them, and then they moved them into a hotel, and in the hotel, I guess the people ran out of money, and then they had to move them out.
Yeah.
In my head, or in my mindset, what would be the Islamic way of handling that situation of someone owning land and then, you know, people come and it's, you know, Tent City? What would be the Islamic way to do that? Because to me, I was heartbroken, but I was like what would, you know, what would we be able to do at that point?
I've thought about it now. We've extensively. My wife is also here. We've talked about this extensively. It's really heartbreaking that people that are in dire need of money, of economic assistance, food needs, and all these things that are just essential to the core survival of human beings, that are not being granted that because of so many reasons. COVID-19 is primarily one of them. And then some folks actually don't know the true condition that people are homeless. Then they weren't homeless a month prior to them being homeless because they lost their job, and they just don't have anywhere to go, and it's really hard. Islamically, again, there's just so many things that people can do. And for instance, if people were to pool in their zakat money, one of the pillars of Islam, if they were to just pool in 2.5% of their saved income, not so if you made $50,000 but lost all $50,000 in due course because of some reason, you're not obligated to pay zakat. Zakat is only applicable on the saved money that you hold. And if the Muslim community were to kind of come together more along those lines and pool that money and open up a space where you have the establishment where it's an interim stay sort of a thing, where if you've lost a job and if you're homeless, that this money will go towards one of 5 or one of 10 different things.
Okay.
You know, monetary help, if you need food stamps, if you need to pay rent at your current place and you haven't gone homeless yet. So this is just one of the ways. The other way, a logical way that I can think of is to
would it have been to like maybe rent out like a basketball, you know, like a gym and keep them there? I don't know. It's you know, because I sat and thought about it, trying to figure out what would have been a good solution for that situation, and I just couldn't think about it. I couldn't, you know, figure out a good solution.
Yeah, situations like these have actually taken place in the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and and some of the rightly guided caliphs that followed right after him. In the caliphate of Umar who was the second Khalifa, a similar circumstance took place where he had the option of chopping off the arm of somebody according to the law and the guidelines that, or one of the verses that God has revealed in the Quran, for a thief, for their limbs to be cut, or for their hands to be cut from the opposite. So, but he didn't choose to do that because the idea of fiqh, or Islamic jurisprudence, is to lessen the burden on an individual and not to put more burden on them or to overburden them. So he understood that there was a deficit in the community of his time, in that people weren't affluent, people weren't economically sound. So in order to alleviate that burden, he first and foremost forgave that person.
Yes.
Right? And there's these examples and there's so many of these examples where people that have been stricken with poverty, people that have been unjustly dealt with, and in consequence have lost their property, have lost their own. These people have been helped by the laws of a Muslim country and by Muslims. So first and foremost, I think it all, and this kind of goes back to the very first conversation that you and I had, was knowledge. if you equip yourself with knowledge, and if you understand these things, and if you don't take verses out of context, understand that Islam and the laws that God has given us are a mercy and are supposed to alleviate our problems and not overburden us, you're naturally more open to helping other people out, right?
Yes.
And so you wouldn't see these devastating effects, like, you know, the tent city being completely entirely wiped out. And what we've seen is that the problem hasn't gone away.
No, it hasn't.
Not in the slightest.
It's literally, they just said, just move out this area.
Yeah, but it really is tragic whatever's happening to the folks now. And it's not only folks that are that started living in tent city, but even outside of that, people that have jobs, right, that are barely making it. And the Quran says this too. The people that are poor, or the people, I'm only paraphrasing this, so please forgive me. I'm not a jurist by profession, so I'm only a student of knowledge. So it says the people of need are the ones that don't really often ask for help. And there's obviously the ones that ask for help, and these are the people that we should be helping. But even outside of the folks in tent city, like I was saying, there's so many people that need help in different realms and different spheres, and it is our responsibility, because we're going to be held accountable for this on the day of judgment. And questions are going to be asked. What did you do?
What did you do
in a certain circumstance?
That's why I always try to tell people not to really chase too many things, you know, tangible or too many materialistic things down here, because as soon as you leave, you're not going to take it with you, and as soon as you get to Jannah, they're going to ask you, what did you do? Yeah. And if you're not able to, you know, express your deeds and your zakah that you've done on this earth, then it's going to be your, you know, that's going to be the problem, you know. And I always try to, you know, tell people that, you know, everybody's trying to get the best of this and the best of that, but it's like, that's not going to really, you know what I'm saying, keep you rich inside. You know, it's tangible. You know, once you get this, you're going to want something better, and then but you could never want better than Allah if you're just chasing that. Never, you know. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, my mom knows about, you know, me being Muslim. My family knows about it. I just feel like, you know, when it's time for Ramadan, I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna be able to go through it, you know, with a Christian family. You know, my mom loves to cook. As you know, my girlfriend's Christian, so she likes to cook, and it's gonna be times where I'm gonna have to be able to tell them no at this time. I can't eat at this time. How was it when you know, reverted to Islam, trying to, you know, go through Ramadan at that time? I don't know if your family or some of your family had, you know, reverted or were born. No,
I'm the only Muslim in my family.
Okay, so you feel
and
you
that
feel my pain, bro.
That came with the added advantage of, there's a geographical separation between us, because they're in a different continent altogether, and so they knew. I informed them kind of late, because I was hesitant in the beginning, because I didn't know what kind of reaction I was going to get, and even till this day, that piece of information has been hidden from some other part of my family, which is very conservative. They're not open to the practice of a different faith or a different religion, especially given the religious tension that exists back home between Muslims and non-Muslims. So keeping those things in mind, I kind of hid that from my parents and my older brother. And once I opened up to them, obviously came the question of, are you praying? Are you fasting? Are you frequenting a certain mosque? And all these different questions, Pandora's box, right? So I had to be honest. And there's some things that I just shield from them. Obviously, they feel that I'm a part of this militant faith, quote unquote, because of all the pathetic attention that, you know, these extremists have gotten, that have kind of, you know.
Yeah, even with my mom, she thought she lost me as a son. You know, when she first, I didn't tell her. She kind of knew, and then she found out from social media or from YouTube, and then, you know, she cried to me because she said she felt like she was losing her son in a sense. She felt like, you know, because she grew up in Nigeria, and you know, it's a very strict Christian Catholic family. You know, right across the street from, you know, because I was born in a village, so right across the street from the village, right across, there's a Catholic church that everyone in the compound, or, you know, in that section of, you know, Isiaku, that's the village I'm from, they, you know, brought money together to build that church. So the pastor or the priest and everybody is all family within, you know, that kindred in a sense. So she grew up strict. My dad grew up strict. You know, even to this day, my dad still hasn't talked to me about it.
Wow.
You know, he knows, but he just hasn't talked to me about it. And, you know, I think it's mostly because, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say he's like disappointed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. I would.
Sense,
yeah. I would say he's disappointed. My mom, she wasn't disappointed. She just felt like she lost her son.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, as I was growing up, I was, you know, in church. I was going through church, you know, church school, Sunday school. I was going through Sunday school, and then, you know, growing up and just, you know, real church-like. And then, so I had to reassure her that you didn't lose your son.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, as time progressed since August, she's grown to, you know, love me more. Because now she sees me a lot more different than what I was.
Yeah.
And you know, even sometimes I might call her and she might pick up the phone and say salam alaikum. I'm like, mommy? And she'd be like, I'm just joking. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought I called the wrong person. Okay, hey, mom.
That's funny. Yeah, man. It's funny how that works, because I think
it's weird.
The same kind of reaction that you received, I received also. I think I was able to relate it, the 5 stages of grief, acceptance being the last one. And so
hold on. Do you need to sit?
Yeah. Okay. No, there was a chair, but I've been sitting all morning. Okay. Because I'm going to sit down.
Okay. No, there's another chair.
Yeah, there is one. I just don't want to sit down. I've been standing all morning. It's right there.
You should.
Yeah,
let me get it. I'll get it, just in case. I'll get it. Yeah, just in case. You never know. Just in case. Okay. Oh, we lost an hour.
Yeah.
We lost an hour. Oh, wow. My phone's been going off. I don't want it to. Okay. Sorry.
No,
sorry.
So I was saying the same kind of reaction that I got, the same kind of reaction that you got is the one I got, where my mom personally felt that she had lost her son, because, you know, accepting a new religion is accepting a new way of life, and it comes with its own package.
Yeah.
And so when you accept something that you didn't grow up with, you're kind of viewed as a rebel, and it's tough. It's tough. But when they see a positive change in you, they start gravitating towards that, and they start accepting. Like I was saying, it's 5 stages of grief, acceptance being the last one. Where if you have, God forbid, like, you know, if you have some sort of condition, right? At first, your obvious reaction is, how could this happen to you?
Yeah.
And towards the
like disbelief,
disbelief, yeah. And towards the end, you're just faced with accepting your condition, and you continue to live your life or with what you've been blessed with. So yeah, it's very, very tough. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
There's not even a Muslim minority in Nigeria?
No, whoa, there is.
Okay.
Northern Nigeria, like we have Igbos, we got Hausa, and we got Yoruba. So Igbo tribe that's my tribe. You know, the Igbos, and it's mostly Christian.
Okay.
Then you got Hausa and Yoruba. There's more tribes, but those are like the three main ones. Sorry if anybody else is another tribe, but those are the three main ones. So Yoruba and Hausa,
Okay.
Muslim.
Okay.
Northern Nigeria is totally Muslim. But once you get towards the west of Nigeria, Christian and Catholic, or Christianity, all the way down. So as far as there being a mosque near my village, no.
Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking, and that, you know, that's why I feel like, you know, because with my family, my parents, their offspring is me, my two brothers, and my sister. We're the first ones from our family to migrate to America. So I'm thinking, with that being the case, I don't know if it's destined for me to bring that religion back to the village and try to see if I can, well, not me being an imam, but see if I can build a mosque there. But see, the thing is, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but the thing is about village people is like, they mess with a lot of voodoo. You understand what I'm saying?
So they're superstitious.
They're very superstitious. And I think if I was to come and try to do that, it would be a lot of people fighting against that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm gonna go down dying trying to build one there, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah. I don't. In terms of whether it's a responsibility, I don't know if I want to call it a responsibility. A responsibility on you and every other Muslim is the responsibility of sharing the light that you've been blessed with, and that can show through your actions or through your words, either which way. Now you've asked if it's your responsibility to talk to your villagers. I think that's a golden opportunity, because so do the prophets. Every single prophet that was blessed with the message went out and talked to people, preached about the oneness of God, which is what the monotheistic faiths are all about, and particularly Islam. Since we're believers in Islam, I should address that Rasulullah had a lot of opposition to the spread of this message, not only within his family but outside of his family. But that didn't deter him from sharing the message nonetheless, because the Quran repeats this point in time again, where it says you are a warner. You are not a manager over them. You don't have any responsibility over them. Allah overlooks the entire business or the affair or the transaction. Your duty is, as we've been commanded in the Quran, your duty is to only convey the message. And that conveyance can happen in like I said, one of two ways in my perspective. One is for your actions to show. If you choose to not, if you choose to not go to the club, right, or indulge in drinking alcohol, or staying away from eating pork, or staying away from spending money unnecessarily and channeling it towards the right causes, it's going to gain attention. People are going to ask you, what's all this belief about? So what's all this Ramadan about? What's all this fasting about? Why do y'all pray 5 times a day? What do you guys do at a mosque? Show me more about this. And so when that happens, when that transaction happens, right, you show and share some of this light that you've been blessed with, this guidance that you've been blessed with. And I think you have a golden opportunity to take this message, first and foremost, fully equip yourself with knowledge, or at least try your best to, and you don't have to be in a position to answer all questions. Nobody, including some of the scholars that I've talked to, one of my good friends who's an imam here, his father, and I quote this example a lot, where I was traveling with him and his father, and I just happened to ask his father, who's also an imam. I think he's in his upper 60s, 61 or 62, and he's a renowned imam or sheikh in America on the national scale. A lot of folks know him. So I asked him, what does it feel like to be an imam, to be in a position to dispense all of this incredible knowledge and share it with people? And he said, wallahi brother, I swear, whatever knowledge I've attained thus far, I can put it in my pocket. It's just that and he didn't quote, he didn't preach, he didn't say, you know what, I know a lot, you know. And there's times when, you know, people, when you ask them some of these questions, and they're hard questions, it's okay to not know the answer.
Say you don't know.
Yeah. So if you're faced with if you're faced with some of these tough questions, you can always go back. And it's actually an ayah in the Quran. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says, ask people of knowledge if you do not know. So in medicine, if you're feeling sick or ill, you go to the doctor. If you're in a university type of setting, if you don't know the answer to a question, you go to the teacher. If in life you have a mentor, and that's in the form of your parent, right? You approach them and ask them a question to an answer that you don't know. Spiritually and religion-wise, we circle back all our questions to what has been laid out in the Quran, what is the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and all the work that has been done and compiled by the scholars that analyzed those two former pieces. So I'm sorry if I digress.
No, it's good. I'm soaking all this in right now.
Yeah,
you know?
so I think you have a golden opportunity to.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. Yeah. That's one of the things I'm thinking about, because you know my sister is she's already married, but she needs to go back to the village and have a traditional wedding.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to figure out how we're all going to go back and do that. But then it's going to also be the family that's back there that I know is going to start asking me questions.
Right.
Because of maybe what they've seen on the internet, and you know, trying to ask me questions. And then after that initial point of asking the questions, and then we all decide to, okay, we're good. Then when me and Jasmine start traveling to Nigeria, it's like I'm going to need a mosque.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's not a mosque, it's almost like, how can I say this? Like, if we're right now in Charlotte, going to North Nigeria is like taking America and then multiplying it up and then going to the top. That's how far it is. Wow. You know, so I can't travel 24 hours just to get up north. And of course they're gonna speak they're gonna speak Hausa or Yoruba, which is different from Igbo or English. So it's, I don't know, it's a lot.
I will say this, however, do take your time with it, because it is a significantly large challenge. If you feel that there's a threat to your life, I wouldn't open up, because there's enough precedence for that in Islam also, where some of the companions of the Prophet had to hide their faith, and for the first 2 or 3 years, I think it was the early phase of Islam after the revelation, the revelation that came to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. He was ordered, he was commanded to keep it concealed and grow in strength, because the opposite of that would have meant a threat or harm to his life and to his companions. And so if you feel that there are elements like that, then I would just stay away from it. Yeah, but be very careful. Yeah. And if there's people that you trust, like your closest family, and you know they're open to hearing you out, for instance, that's incredible. Like, I have done that with my cousin. He's asked me. He lives I think he went to school in Massachusetts.